So just go ahead and lay back, get comfortable. So as usual, knees can be bent, legs can be straight, arms kind of wherever. And we'll take just the first few rounds of breath to kind of sink in, relax. Let the eyes close so that the muscles of the face can begin to release. Letting the muscles throughout the body relax so that you kind of just drop in toward the floor. And then briefly scan over the body and notice if there's anywhere that you're hanging on to tension, anywhere that you're kind of gripping or just simply feels achy or tight. And then with your next inhale, lengthen the body out from the fingertips to the toes so everything grows really long, every single muscle working in one direction or the other. And with a big exhale, squeeze both knees up into the chest. And just give a nice squeeze in, and you can stay still or maybe rock a little side to side. And take both feet down onto the ground with the knees bent. So once the feet are planted about hips width apart with the heels right underneath the knees, go ahead and cross the right heel over top of the left thigh. So once you're there, feel like the right knee is pushing out and away, the right foot is flexed back, and then kind of windshield wiper the legs from side to side here. So you're taking just like a little baby twist from side to side, nothing too huge. You want to feel a little stretch through the low back beginning, but it shouldn't feel very intense. Come back to center, and if you need more of a stretch through the right hip, lift the left foot off of the ground. Take a couple breaths there, and you can hold on to the left thigh if you'd like. And then take that left foot back down to the ground. We'll keep the legs crossed right over top of left, but we'll cross at the knees now instead of ankle over knee. So once the right knee kind of drops over top of the left knee, we'll pull both knees back into the chest. So here you can hold on to the backs of the thighs, noticing how the right hip feels here. If you feel like you need more though, go ahead and grab for the feet or the ankles. And with the thighs pressing in toward the belly, you can stretch the feet out toward the sides of the room. And then release. Take that left foot back down to the floor and grab hold of the right foot. So you're in like a half of a happy baby pose, with the right heel pointed up towards the ceiling. Left foot can stay flat on the floor, or you can stretch it out long if it feels like the right hamstring is ready for that. As far as the right side goes, we want to feel like the right heel is stacking on top of the right knee, bottom of the foot pressing up towards the ceiling, and the knee pressing down kind of towards the right armpit. And sometimes all of that comes together really nicely, and sometimes not so much. And release that right foot, both feet flat on the floor. Let's tip the knees over together to the left side. So we'll lengthen out through that right side body with the right shoulder dropping toward the floor. I'm just feeling that twist through the low back, maybe the rib cage, all the way up through the right shoulder even. And come back to center, knees both point up to the ceiling once again. And we'll just switch sides once we get back to center. So as the knees tip upward, we'll stack both heels right underneath the knees and just set up for the other side. So from here, back at center, we'll cross the left heel over top of the right thigh with the left knee pressing outward, the left foot flexed. And we'll kind of just windshield wiper from side to side here. And then coming back to center, we'll go ahead and lift the right foot off of the floor as much or as little as you need. Just opening up through that left hip. And then right foot can come back down to the ground, and we'll keep cross left over right. We'll just slide the knee over. So we're crossing more at the knees than at the ankle, and squeezing both knees back up into the chest. And just see how that feels. So even here, you should begin at least to get a nice stretch down the outer left hip and the left glute. If you need more, you can grab hold of the feet and kind of stretch them out towards the sides of the room. And releasing there, taking both feet down to the ground as the legs uncross. We'll start to reach the left hand to the left foot for a half happy baby pose. So left heel pointing up, left knee pressing toward the armpit. And again, right leg can stay bent, or you can stretch it out depending on how it feels best. Releasing there. Again, both feet come back down, and then we'll finish up with that twist on the other side. Both knees move over to the right side this time. Left shoulder sinks in so that the chest stays facing the ceiling, the shoulders both relaxing into the floor. And coming back to center. This time we'll squeeze the knees into the chest. Head can lift. And we'll just kind of rock up and down a little bit, forward and backward along the spine. Just a couple times, eventually coming all the way up and right onto all fours or into tabletop pose. So here the wrists can stack right underneath the shoulders with the fingers spread wide. So that'll take a little bit of pressure off of the wrists. And we'll take just a couple cat-cows. So beginning on an inhale, belly drops, looking forward, shoulders pull back, and with an exhale, rounding the spine, curling inward, chin to chest, and just a few more at your own pace. Good. Next time you come back to an inhale, find a neutral spine, and then we'll come into down dog. So just curling the toes, tail lifts up and back as much or as little movement as you need here to kind of begin working out the kinks through the legs or the back or the shoulders. And on an inhale, come forward to plank pose. And then walk the hands backward to the feet so that you're forward folding. Once you walk the hands all the way back, upper body can just gently hang over top of the legs. On an inhale, take a halfway lift so that the spine grows long, chest comes forward and out, and then exhale, forward fold again. Breathing in, reach both arms all the way up. Maybe even look up toward the fingertips. And then exhale, forward fold right back down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, walk the hands forward until you reach plank. And then elbows bend on an exhale, maybe all the way to the belly or halfway and hover. Breathing in, come to a back bend, cobra or up dog, either one. And then exhale, downward facing dog, hips lift up and back. Good, and we'll just do that whole thing again, but let's stay here for a nice big breath in. And then a nice full breath out. On an inhale, shifting forward to plank. Exhale, we'll walk the hands backward to the feet. Stay here for a couple breaths, letting the upper body relax as much as we can, letting the backs of the legs, calves, and hamstrings release a bit. And then inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Breathing in, reach the arms up. Again, maybe looking up. And exhale, forward fold. Walk the hands forward as you inhale, plank pose. We'll stay here for a couple breaths. So lengthening out as you inhale. Seeing where can maybe relax just a bit as you exhale. And there's not too many places in this pose, but if there's anywhere that you're gripping extra tight, sometimes the face or the neck. And then with an exhale, bend the elbows any amount. Breathe in, chest lifts up, cobra or up dog. And then this time let's drop the knees down and find child's pose. So knees can be together or wide here, forehead resting down on the ground. Taking a moment just to come back to the breath. And then press back up through tabletop and into downward facing dog again. Tail lifting up and back, heels sinking toward the ground. On an inhale, take the right leg up into the air. And then with an exhale, step that right foot forward to the top end of the mat. And spin the left foot down, come all the way up, warrior two. So right knee will bend, pressing forward over top of the heel. Left foot is at a 90-degree angle. Shoulders relax. Fingertips stretch away from each other. And breathing in, come into reverse warrior. So right hand will lift, left hand can slide down the leg or wrap around the back. Keep sinking down into that right knee. And then with an exhale, right elbow comes to right thigh for side angle. So left arm here can stretch straight up into the air, or it can reach up and over at an angle as if it's continuing that diagonal from the toes of that back foot. We'll come back to reverse warrior just for a breath. Reach the right arm up and over. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down. Flip that back heel up, low lunge. And then we'll twist. Right hand lifts up into the air. Keep sinking the hips into the floor. Drop the left knee down as the right hand comes down to the ground. We'll stretch the right leg to the back of the mat and then lift the left hand up. Good. And then threading the needle, we'll take the left hand down and through, lowering to the left shoulder, left ear. And right hand can stay or it can stretch forward. If this version feels too wobbly or off balance, you can always take that back knee down to the ground as well. And then press into the right hand, sweep that left arm back up into the air just for a breath. And then come back down through tabletop, back into downward facing dog. Good, big breath in, we'll take the left leg up high. And exhaling, left foot will come to the top of the mat up between the hands for warrior two. So right foot spins to 90 degrees. Arms extend and we lunge into that left knee. Shoulders relaxed. Reverse warrior, left hand will go up and over. Right hand can stay or slide down or wrap around. Either way is good. And then release left elbow to left thigh, right arm either straight up or up and over. Just finding length through the right side body. Trying to relax the right shoulder. And again, reverse warrior, big inhale. Exhale, cartwheeling the hands to the mat, low lunge, and taking that twist. Left hand lifts up into the air. And lengthening back through the right leg. And setting up for thread the needle, left hand will come down as well as the right knee. And then we'll stretch the left leg backward. Right hand swivels up into the air and exhale, thread it through, lowering to the right shoulder, right side of the head. And pressing down, we'll take the right arm back up into the air just for a breath. And then back to tabletop, this time again child's pose. Just sinking in, taking a couple breaths. Come back up. We'll come to a seated position this time though. So we'll come into Firelog pose, or sometimes it's called double pigeon. It's known by both. So we'll begin with the right leg on the bottom. So what we'll do is we'll take the right leg so that the shin is parallel, kind of straight in front of you. So if you're on a mat, normally we're facing forward and the shin is parallel with the short edge of the mat, unlike if we're like crossing our legs and pulling it all the way in. So we want the heel away. The heel should be right in front of the left hip, the knee pressing out to the side. Same thing with this left side. We're gonna stack it on top. So the farthest we want to be is heel on top of knee and knee on top of heel. That feels terrible for me. So you can take it further away and kind of slide down. What we want is the the shins stacked instead of crossed as best we can, even if that means foot on top of foot. So wherever we can get to here in this position, we'll kind of settle in. Hands can rest down either on the knees or on the floor. And then just sitting up nice and tall. Yeah. And if it feels okay, you can close the eyes and take a couple breaths. And then we'll come out of this just by stretching the left leg forward, so straight ahead. And we'll just lengthen that side out. Sole of the right foot can come against the inner left thigh, and we'll just breathe in, reaching the arms up, and we'll fold forward, exhaling. And hands can come wherever. They can rest on the leg, grab towards the toes, even just fall to the floor. Breathe in, sit tall, and we'll switch sides. We'll come back to Firelog on the other side. So left leg will be on the bottom. We want the left foot flex, the shin right in front of us, stacking the right side over top as far as feels okay. So again, it can be heel on top of knee. We can slide that down, feet closer together. Wherever we can feel a nice stretch through the right hip, but it's not super intense or too much. We should be able to still breathe pretty easily. And then the hands can rest, again, wherever. Sit up nice and tall, shoulders back, and just close down the eyes and take a couple breaths here. Same thing on this side. To release that, we'll stretch the right leg straight forward, repositioning sole of the left foot somewhere on the inner right thigh. Breathe in, arms reach up, and then coming forward and down. That right knee can have a soft bend, or it can even be really bent, so no different than a standing forward fold. Breathe in, sit tall, and we'll come all the way down onto our backs again. So once you come down, position your feet kind of wide apart, maybe double hips width, and the knees can fall toward each other just to let the low back soften for a moment. And then with the feet wide still, just windshield wiper the knees from side to side. Just further loosening up the low back. We'll come back to center, walking the feet in toward each other so that they're about hips width apart. We'll cross the right heel over top of the left thigh, just like we did in the beginning. And then here, we'll drop everything over toward the left side for a twist. So that right knee can keep falling in towards the floor. Another good option if you need more through the outer right hip is to grab hold of the pinky toe edge of the right foot with the left hand and start to stretch that leg straight out towards the side. And it doesn't have to go totally straight. It can just move in that direction. Coming back to center, knees point up towards the ceiling, and we'll squeeze both knees into the chest. releasing the head, tucking the chin, forehead stretches toward the knees, and then just lightening up with the hands as much as you can. So you can keep holding on, or you can fully release. Good, and head comes back down, feet also, knees pointed up. Crossing then the left heel over top of the right thigh. We'll take the twist on the other side, everything dropping to the right. And again, that knee keeps pressing down to the ground as far as feels good. And if you'd like that extra little bit, right hand can grab hold of the outside edge of the left foot as that leg stretches out any amount, a little bit, a lot. And then come back to center. Again, knees to chest once you get there. And then find Shavasana. So as always, you can stretch out, you can curl up, get comfortable. It's really hard to quiet down the mind if we're struggling with our positioning. So find something that feels good first. And then close down the eyes when you're there. Begin to let go of any control over the breath. Just let it come easily, naturally. And same with the body. Letting it fall into whatever position feels best without force or struggle. Your next breath in, just gently start to move through the fingers and the toes. Let the knees both bend until the feet are flat on the floor. And roll over to either side, finding a supported fetal pose for as long as you need before coming up to a comfortable seat. Bringing the hands to the center of the heart, palm to palm. And just taking a moment here to, again, notice the breath without trying to control it. That's just a great way to check in. Right? Notice how we're breathing naturally, if it's fast or slow, deep or shallow, through nose or mouth. And often that can tell us how we're feeling otherwise, if maybe we haven't even noticed quite yet. Our breath is the best tool that we have to help us feel the way that we want to feel, and it's something that we have with us all the time. So in that way, you can continue with the practice of yoga throughout your day. Thanks for joining me this morning. Namaste.